instant firing. Hello, all of you fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you are all doing very, very well, and that you are all feeling a little malicious today. Just a little bit, though, not like crazy bitch malicious, just slightly malicious. If you haven't guessed yet, today we are going to be going through r/malicious compliance as promised. That is what won my poll a week or so ago. Stay tuned to the community tab if you want to take the polls, watch me rant, hear my thoughts, have videos shared, you know, the fun stuff. Oh, and have you ever done a malicious compliance? Please let me know down in the comments or email me. Thank you. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Why is there pizza sauce smeared all over the walls? The bosses wondered to themselves. 20 years back, I worked on a tugboat sailing the Great Lakes. This was a really crappy company, and they'd more or less exhausted very available mariner living on the Great Lakes. So nobody on the lakes would even apply to work there anymore. As a result, I, Tennessee, Kentucky river trash deckhand, got hired on. Should I be talking like this when I read it? From the get-go, it was an uphill battle. My hard work ethic and easygoing nature were overshadowed by my southern accent and inexperience with big cities. Hick was one of the nicer terms thrown my way in those 6 months. But the money was amazing and I learned to eat plenty of shit. It just didn't taste very good, as I really wanted the job. After about 4 to 5 months, I began to get a bigger picture of the dynamic and was vastly more confident in my abilities. At this point, I was unconsciously doing most, if not all, of the deckhand's work on board. One way I got screwed was galley kitchen cleanup. One of the deckhands got galley cleanup in the morning, one got it at night. Naturally, as the FNG, effing new guy, I always seemed to get stuck with nighttime galley cleanup. AM cleanup was little more than tossing dishes in the washer and making coffee. Nighttime cleanup was the accumulation of an entire day's worth of buildup, easily 45 to 60 minutes worth of work. Enter the annual shipyard period, and this is where our tale begins. We pulled into Sturgeon Bay, population about 8,900, around dusk, as we had a 3-week shipyard period scheduled. Now, this company was death on drinking, instant firing. Of course, because we all had no unloading the next day, we all went out to some local bar that night. My years of coal barge experience taught me grab a few drinks, then get back to the boat. We got a job in a few hours. So after a half dozen buds, I walked back to the boat to go to sleep. Since I was a nice guy, always trying to help out my crew, no matter what they'd do to me, I decided to cook them a couple pizzas. I tossed a couple tombstones in the oven, set cook, smoked a butt or two, then pulled them out. I placed them on the counter with a note. Pizzas on the stove. Clean up your mess. Put dishes in washer when you're done. Maybe it was the demanding tone in my orders, but my note 100% set them off. I woke up to literally pizzas smeared across every cabinet and a rough "fuck you" in pizza font on the whiteboard. I woke up at 0600 to this mess. Since it was morning cleanup, I figured it was not my responsibility. I'd been getting up at 0600, 1 hour before the crew, and making coffee for 2 months. And I suspect they were used to it. This time, the bigwigs from the office were in town. Shipyard, remember? And had let the captain know they would be aboard in the AM. And so they were. I was in the galley sipping my coffee when 3 of the bigwigs came down the stairs. I politely asked if anyone wanted coffee. They all said yes, former sailors, and sat in the galley staring at the Pizza Picasso artwork decorating the bulkhead's walls. Waiting for the captain, apparently. After 10 to 15 minutes, the captain came down. He had that been drinking all night vibe to him and was promptly horrified at the state of the galley. Of course, he immediately tried to show off by raging against me in the state of the galley. I reminded him that I was night cleanup, not AM cleanup. The more he tried to pin this on me, the worse he looked. It finally culminated in him trying to hammer me. I know you have night cleanup, but couldn't you have at least wiped down the cabinets? I'd had an hour to practice my answer. When we left Toledo last week and I asked you for help cleaning the galley after the mess the longshoremen left, you told me I volunteered for night cleanup, so it's my job, period. Well, now it's AM cleanup, and this other deckhand has cleanup. He doubled down and ordered me to clean the galley to save face, but it was just digging a deeper hole. Best of all, my shipmates couldn't resist bragging about the stupid drunk shit they'd done that night. I called the company's 1-800 number, used a variety of accents, and complained about what they'd been doing in Sturgeon Bay. Some of the complaints I made lifted straight from their stories from that night. Threw their empties at the bar's Billy Bass mouth trophy. Tried to take down 2 of the bar's 5-mounted deer heads. Walked behind the bar to grab a bottle of Jägermeister to pour free shots for everyone. After getting kicked out, they weren't kicking the side of a pickup parked in front. Putting empties in several mailboxes between the bar and the shipyard. Knocking a base-shaped mailbox off its mount. All of which they bragged about loudly. Long story short, 1 officer and a deckhand got fired. The captain had Sturgeon Bay hanging over his head as long as I worked there. 7 years. And the office never fucked with me. Not once. Let me know what you think of that story down below. Natural occurring colors. In the early 2000s, I worked at a Canadian casino. The place had so many ridiculous rules, including some very particular rules about makeup. The makeup rules were as follows. Number 1, no fake eyelashes. Number 2, no fake fingernails or fingernail extensions. Number 3, no makeup that is not a natural color. The natural color one confused me. What is deemed natural? Who decides what is and isn't natural? I asked my manager for clarification, but she couldn't give me any. Just keep it natural. Use natural occurring colors and you'll be fine. This did not sit well with me. Cue malicious compliance. Dun, dun, dun. My aunt has her master's in environmental science. I went to her house one evening and picked her brain about natural occurring colors. She informed me that scientifically, we love a scientific bitch here, natural occurring colors are colors that can be found directly in nature. She even showed me a textbook that directly spoke about natural occurring colors. I borrowed the textbook and highlighted the paragraphs that specified this. Keep in mind, this was well before you could just Google something. The only way to back up the claim was to carry that 750-page textbook to work with me. It was some hard times. Hard times out here for a pimp. Okay, I'll stop now. My next shift, I went all out. Green eyeliner, eggplant colored eyeshadow, yellow nail polish on one hand and mango colored on the other hand. I hit the floor to work and within the first few minutes, I get hauled into my manager's office. "Oh, P, what do you think you're doing? You cannot wear those colors. You know our policy states natural occurring colors only when it comes to makeup. Head to the staff bathroom immediately and remove it." Wordlessly, I headed to the staff bathroom. But instead of taking the makeup off, I went to my locker, grabbed the textbook, and marched back to my manager's office. "Excuse me, manager, I am wearing natural occurring colors. Here, look at this textbook that specifically states what natural occurring are. By definition." I watched her face change as she read the book. First, she looked pissed. then worried, and then finally resigned herself to what was happening. "Oh, P, do you really need to be that type of person?" Me. "The type that follows the rules? I thought that's what you wanted me to do." She asked me to head back to the floor. For the remaining time I was employed there, I wore whatever color makeup I wanted, and so did most of my coworkers. They tried coming out with new rules, but could never get the wording right. Fuck stupid rules. Malicious compliance for the win. Woo! "We're gonna go on strike if you don't let us wear the type of makeup we want." Let me know down below what you think of that story. Be careful what you ask for. This happened nearly 10 years ago, and it was not MC on my part, but I did carry it out. I work in the IT field, and one of my clients was in litigation over something that I never cared to commit to memory. Well, they call me over and say they must produce emails from the present day back like 5 years. So I am thinking I have the emails. Cool. I'll export and send it over via an external drive. Nope. The client reads the summons and it states printed, floppy drive, disk drive, flash drive, or external hard drive. Miss Owner says, "I want to send them printed copies." I explain the volume of paper it will take, and she says to print them. Okay, I'll export them to a printable format and then show Jack, not his real name, how to print the emails. "No, sir, I want you to do it. Jack's time is too valuable to the company." I'm like, okay, you do understand my hourly rate is way more than Jack's hourly rate? She acknowledged this, so I go, "Yes, ma'am." I grab the client's credit card and purchase some software to export the volume of emails required and convert them to a format that is easily printed. No need for me to work harder than needed. This company has a habit of carbon copying everyone on the team each email, and if there are attachments, that attachment is copied in each email and reply. Some emails had dozens and dozens of attachments. Another habit was not using subject lines, which irked me to the point I had a mail rule set that any emails to me were marked as read and deleted if there was an empty subject line. Then an auto reply stating what was done with the email. So, back to the MC. I spent a couple of days exporting emails from a dozen or so employees. I then start the conversion process. On about day 3, I start printing. I tried to keep things sorted, but that was just mind-blowing. The email threads with all the attachments had me going in circles. I give Miss Owner an update and she calls her legal representation. She calls me back to her office and says, "OP, the summons did not say the information had to be sorted, stapled, or labeled on our part, so print." "Yes, ma'am." I go back to the office I had commandeered and continued printing. I quickly found that if I load all 5 printer trays with paper, I can select a couple of hundred emails and send them to the printer. This gave me time to walk around or surf the internet. I got to the point when I knew the sound of the printer switching trays. I would then refill the empty. This went on for 8 hours a day. The printer would stop for a while and internal fans would spin up and cool it off and then print again. The printer leasing company had to come in and put in a maintenance kit during the job and shortly afterward. When all was completed, I spent over 2 weeks at 8 hours a day, billable time, and had a pallet of paper shrink wrapped and ready for shipping. Both Miss Owner and I had a bit of an evil grin when the pallet was loaded on the freight truck. Miss Owner took years to pay my employer that time and all the other time I spent on other jobs. TLDR, spent over 2 weeks printing a pallet of paper because some lawyer said that was an option for sending years of emails. Like I said, be careful what you ask for. So guys, let me know what you think of all of these stories down below, and be sure to share your own if you have them in the comments. I would love to share them on my channel. You can always email them to me, send them to me on IG. Don't worry, I know that you can all find me on the internet. It's been proven, even if I don't want you to. And no matter where you are or what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. Please do give the video a like, subscribe if you're new here, and I would love it if you joined our fabulous, amazing members. All of the beautiful people do. And, well, you don't want to be ugly like me, so please hit that join button. I'll see you all very, very shortly. My birthday's on Monday, by the way. I'm just letting you know so you can all wish me a happy birthday on that day. Because apparently, I'm a little bit narcissistic. Okay, see you later. Mwah. Bye. Wonder how I can do a malicious compliance on YouTube.
God shall make them pay for each sperm that can't be found. Every sperm is wanted, every sperm is good, every sperm is needed in your neighborhood.
I beg to differ!